It's a pretty nice afternoon in the UK today. Feeling a lot better today than I did yesterday, which has prompted me to do this video. And it was self-inflicted, alcohol related, and I've been saying to myself all yesterday because I literally felt hungover all yesterday up until the evening. Feel better today, but just feel tired and lethargic and unmotivated, and this is how I remember feeling when I was depressed, or when I would, not even when I was depressed actually, but it certainly it added to that, and it makes me think that really um, is something. If you can, something to absolutely nail is, if you are feeling down or unmotivated, is definitely not to drink alcohol. People associate it with having a good time, or they do in the UK. It's kind of, you go out and you have a party, and part of that party is the alcohol, and that's what makes everything great. Um, and really, I don't think there's any reason why you have to drink alcohol to have a great night. It is crap when you're in an environment and you've not had much drinks, because people behave very differently, and if you're not drinking, if you're like me and don't generate towards huge crowds, it can get a little bit annoying. But at the same time, it was a coping mechanism for me. So it was one of those unhealthy coping mechanisms because of social anxiety. When I actually went out and drunk, and I drunk past a certain point, those feelings disappeared. I stopped sweating. I wasn't away. Numbed my senses basically, and that was always quite nice. But again, I wasn't. That coping mechanisms are dog shit, or avoidance mechanisms, whatever you want to call them. And because ultimately, if you keep avoiding the thing that you fear, or you use other things to mask over them, then you never address the actual issue you've got, which for me was social anxiety. And because I never dealt with it for years, it got worse. Instead of getting better and actually tackling it in an what's the word, tackling it myself, not using drugs, say alcohol, or other things, avoidance, to basically avoid the anxiety as opposed to actually facing it head on. I've done a video on how I've overcome social anxiety, if you want to check that out. But really, the point of the video is that, because I hate feeling ill. Everyone hates feeling ill, not just me. Everyone hates feeling ill. But I've done it in the past with my journey and things, and the way I see, obviously, the foods that people eat these days. We're more sedentary than we ever have been. So it really is for me, the most important thing for anybody is our health, because what sort of made me want to do this was the fact that, especially yesterday, because I felt rough. So I didn't feel like doing anything, and it's a weekend, and my daughter's in Disneyland with her mum, and it's like a weekend to myself, so I could have got loads done, just enjoyed the time, instead of wasted it basically. Yeah, I had a good night with my friend on Friday night, but I didn't need to drink as much as I drunk. I just stupidly got carried away, and it's basically spoilt my weekend. So it was a silly thing to do. I can't change the past, but if anybody can listen to this and think, you know what, I'm not going to go out this weekend, or I'm going to just be sensible and drink one drink an hour, or drink a non-alcoholic drink in between my drinks. I know there's peer pressure and people pressurise you, but they shouldn't do, because it's your body, it's your life. And it's robbed me of my weekend. It's self-inflicted. I'm not blaming the alcohol. It's me. I put it in my mouth, my face. But it made me think that a lot of the things that have helped my life is to do with the fact I've started to look after myself. So I've started to exercise, and have been doing now regularly for 4 years, I think. I eat very, very well. I consider very well. A whole food diet. I lean more towards a paleo diet. I do occasionally have some what's it called? Sourdough bread. I sometimes will go out and have a pizza. I will drink alcohol like I do the week. Beer and things, and whiskey and things. But that, if you would say what sort of eating plan do you follow, I would class it as a paleo. It's basically whole organic food. That's the best way to describe it. I drink coffee. If I can have decaf coffee, I will do. I drink it black. I don't have a lot of dairy. I do have some Greek yogurt, but that's been fermented. And obviously it's helped me hugely. But if you haven't got your health, so if you take your body for granted, if you smoke, if you drink too much alcohol, if you eat poorly, if you don't get enough sleep, these things, then life is just much more challenging, and not as pleasurable in my experience. From living a certain way, feeling off colour for most of my early 20s through till only the last few years, basically, where I've changed my eating habits. So I've gone from a westernized diet, would you say, like I say, to a more whole foods approach, and it's just made such a huge significant difference to my health and to my well-being, to my psychological state, to my energy levels, to being better, to looking better, to looking younger, like I say, sleep better, and all. I would take just being healthy and happy over money any day. If somebody says, "Oh, you can have 10 million, but you can feel like you did when you were struggling," say when I was 25. There's no way I would take that in a million years. I would like to think no one in the right mind would do the same thing, because there is nothing better on earth than feeling like energetic, invigorated, motivated. And these things they do come and go. You have to put self-discipline into that. Something that I've spent a lot of time doing, because I spend a lot of time on my own. I have to self-motivate. And I like to think that I've incorporated that in my life now, and it gets me through doing workouts when I perhaps don't feel like doing them. Eating. Instead, sometimes when I get home and I've had a long day at work and I maybe can't be bothered to cook something, it's forcing myself to cook something. Or in better actually, the more you prepare for that moment, the easier it will be. Because if I prepared a meal or bought the ingredients before I got in, like I say, or cooked in bulk so I could reheat the food and it was quick, it will stop me buying the takeaway, because it is so easy just to think, screw it tonight, I'm going to go and get an Indian takeout or something. And I do occasionally do it, like I say, I'm not perfect, but it makes me feel so much better when I eat this way, when I get enough sleep, when I don't drink alcohol, and the amount of times I've said it, and I'm sure that I'll go out and drink again. But if somebody said to me, look, like cigarettes, or not so much cigarettes, certain drugs, so marijuana or whatever is illegal, cocaine or whatever. If they made alcohol illegal tomorrow, I wouldn't give a shit. I'd be quite happy. It would mean that I couldn't buy it, and then I wouldn't feel like this. These silly moments. And like I said, I don't have to have that to have a good night anymore. I used to have to feel that I relied upon that, and I think probably a lot of people do. We escape when we have alcohol type thing, but really we're running away from something that's always going to be there. We have to tackle it head on, and that's something that I've been trying to do. And it can get frustrating, it can get really frustrating, but I've got to log things like this in my mind. Is it worth going out and ruining my weekend? No, it isn't. Obviously, I can see that now. And if anybody can take, like I say, anything, it can make you think. Because if I just didn't, on Friday night, for whatever reason, I just wasn't thinking. I obviously drunk way too much, because I've not felt ill all day from a hangover for a long time. I've maybe felt off a bit of colour in the morning, but I couldn't wait to get to bed from the moment I woke up. So focusing on your health it should be a top priority. If it's something that you have to go and pay somebody to see, to get help, which I've had to do with my gut. I've had a poor gut bacterial gut imbalance, and I've had to go and see a specialist for that. The health service in England, the NHS don't recognise and look at things like this, but I've had to go and see somebody, a functional medicine doctor, and I've had to pay a lot of money for that, but it's worth it because it's my health. It's the most important thing. Yes, I've not been able to perhaps go on holidays as much as I'd like to, or have more savings, but it's an investment. Investing in yourself is the best investment I think you can make. where else can you invest other than, like you say, your health? That the longer you'll live, the happier you'll be, the more energy, like I say, have. I can run around and compete with people 10 years younger than me. I can do the things I want to do with my daughter. I can go and climb a mountain if I want to. If I carried on eating the way I was, I wouldn't be able to. And having tests, like I said, I had to pay for tests to do a profile of the bacteria in my gut, and I had a lot of bad bacteria. So I've been, going through a rigorous process of trying to, you know, increase the population of good bacteria and decrease the population of the bad bacteria that's been causing me a lot of problems and could potentially lead there were a couple were close to becoming pathogenic, which from what I understand is basically that a pathogen leads to disease, so perhaps a cancer or something along those lines. And I want to do everything I can to prevent, myself getting that. And I think anyone would want that. But until you start to sort of really take care of yourself and appreciate the body, the vehicle that we've been given to move around the planet in, it does make life a lot easier and a lot better. You notice, so let's say that your concentration will be better. You can just, I don't know, you just take in things. I can appreciate the sun coming through the window. I could have probably appreciated that before, but it's kind of because of, I suppose, I don't know, because I eat foods, whole foods and things, and I want to, I like to be in an environment that's not littered and things like this. I can really appreciate nature for what it is, and like going out and walking and stuff like that, and appreciating what we have naturally, not what we buy ourselves. So if you're going to go out drinking tonight, you might, if this discourages one person to do that and think, you know what, I'm not going to tonight because I've got work, or I'm out on my job, and tomorrow I'm going to start looking for a new job, or you know what, I'm not going to go out tonight, I'm going to go for a run or work out tonight, or go and see my family or my loved ones, or phone a friend, or whatever the heck it is. I can guarantee you that you'll probably feel a lot better tomorrow than you would do if you go out tonight. I know that would have been the case for me yesterday and today. But if it helps somebody, then hey ho, that's a positive. I'll take that. So good luck.